Now, over the years, I've had a chance to review a lot of guns, and inevitably, we're bound to run across some that simply just don't work. Others that have about a 50 round life expectancy. So as you can see, I lasted about 4 or 5 mags before the gun just would not fire. And then a few more that simply have not even made the channel at all because I didn't want to give them any kind of spotlight. They were so bad and I didn't want to waste any more time with them because they were junk. But that's not today's guns. Today's guns are 7 that you can trust your life to. Now you can look at it a couple different ways. You can look at it maybe your first 7 best guns or 7 guns to build a collection or whatever, but these are ones specifically that I trust, that I've used, and I think, you know, everybody should start a list, or if you're going to condense one down, at least these 7 should be there. And the first one we're going to start with is a pump action shotgun. This is something that everybody absolutely needs, something you can trust for home defense. This one specifically is really great for home defense. I did a video recently and I was like, man, I pulled it out of the safe. I didn't see an optic on it. And I was like, my whole intention of this gun was to build it as the home defense shotgun. And I just haven't. So that's why you see the Holocene on there. And I'm going to build this thing out because it's such a great home defense weapon. It really is. It's overall short length, not super hard on the recoil as much as you would think anyways. Got good padding back here in the stock. And of course, it's a bullpup design, which is why it's overall short. You can hold 14 rounds of double-aught buck, 2 3/4 inch shells in this thing. It's awesome. Pump action shotguns are great. You have the Benelli M4, you have the Remington 870, the Mossberg 500, the Mossberg, hell, the Maverick 88 is a good budget shotgun, and even the Mossberg 590A1. There's a lot of good shotguns. The M&P 12 is more of a tactical type of shotgun bullpup, but a pump action is one you can trust. It's great for home defense. Really a wide variety of uses, honestly. Not so much with these. These are more just home defense strictly. Truck gun type of guns as well if you want. But some of the others I mentioned are really good. If you need to take, you know, birds, if you need to take buck, if whatever, if you need to put down a freaking bear, this is one of the most versatile guns on the planet, and you can trust them. As long as you know how to use them and you don't short stroke them, you're good to go with a shotgun. The next one we're going to talk about is a revolver. Now this, to me, is ideal in bear country where you need personal protection on a whole nother level. And only a revolver can truly give you that, and something you can trust your life to against any 2 or 4-legged foe. A revolver is really the way to go. And 357 Magnum specifically is such a beautiful, hard-hitting round and something you can trust, even for self-defense, dude. You know, a revolver, it's hard to beat them. They can mess up, but the probability of having any kind of an issue with a good revolver, Smith & Wesson and Ruger are the ones that come to mind. It's really hard to beat this, and this is something you can absolutely trust. Depending on what you're doing, a revolver is still a go-to option. Not the best in some circumstances, but in others, I wouldn't want to go with anything else than this right here. You want to talk about practicality, reliability, and something that you can absolutely trust: bolt action rifle. Now this one here is one of my favorite guns, but definitely top 3 for sure. This is a K98K Mauser, right? From 1941. It's got all the markings and everything. I've done a couple of videos on this gun. Specifically chambered, of course, 8mm Mauser, super accurate, by the way. And a bolt action rifle, even an updated Mauser, like I believe the M18 and things like that with the turn down style bolt, you just can't go wrong with this. If you need something for hunting, even some protection scenarios for shore and long distance, bolt action is the way to go, dude. Ruger Precision Rifle comes to mind, Ruger American Rifle, Remington 700. there's quite a few good options out there. Weatherby makes some really good ones. So just look around, but you know, to me, there is no collection complete without a bolt action rifle. Hell, even if you want to go with something as inexpensive. Now hear me out here. One of the most accurate guns I have ever shot in my life. It's chambered in 7.62 by 54R. Don't cheat. Leave what I'm about to say down below because I want to hear how many of you actually get it right. If you get it wrong, who cares? But I just want to hear what you say. What's the first thing that comes to mind? 7.62 by 54R. That's right. The Mosin Nagant. One of the most accurate rifles I have. Well, hell, I have it right behind me. Hold on. Mosin Nagant. This, like I said, one of the most accurate rifles I have in 7.62 by 54R. As a matter of fact, the Russian SVT-40 from World War II, chambered in the same round, semi-auto though, is just as accurate as this rifle right here. And if you want something on the cheap, you can take a deer down with. Here you go. They're not as cheap as they used to be, but they're still relatively cheap. And one nice thing about bolt actions is that you can kind of show them off and still keep them safe if you have kids in the house or whatever, but you want to put it on the wall. This is kind of what I do with this gun. I keep it on my mod wall behind me or behind the black screen, and you could just take the bolt out, keep the bolt in your safe, and have the gun on display. These things are fantastic, and quite honestly, you can trust your life to a good bolt action rifle. Hey, if you made it this far, I appreciate it, and if you are not already subscribed, hit that little button down below and hit your notification box. Love to have you join our community right here. And also looking for ideas on what I can do to make Patreon a better option for you and to get more patrons to join the community here. We have a small group over there of dedicated fans. We want to grow that community and continue to ensure that I can do videos and even better videos and continue to do what we do here. So any suggestions on something that would entice you to join Patreon if you've been on the fence and something that would kind of lead you over there as well, love to hear those down below. I'll leave a link to my Patreon page if you want to help support what I do right here. Love to have you, man. Big thanks to you guys. Let's get to the next gun you can trust your life to. Next gun we're going to talk about is one I'm falling in love with every single time I take it to the range. And I've promised over the years I'm going to do more rifle reviews. And finally, now that I'm full-time, I can make good on that promise and start incorporating more rifles into what they do. And they don't get the views like the pistols do now, but I believe we can grow our community even further by getting into that sector. And the more I learn about it, the more I can share, obviously. And this rifle is a good representation of one that you can trust your life to, especially inside of 300 yards. And of course, I'm talking about the SKS. Now, specifically the 7.62 by 39, most commonly associated with the AK-47. It is a great round, and for a semi-auto rifle, for as old as the technology is, it's still incredible. I mean, you're talking about the development during World War II, by the way, and just came out just a couple of years right after World War II. And it's one of the most, if not the most common rifle in the entire world. And 7.62 by 39 is a hard-hitting round, especially, like I said, inside of 300 yards. The SKS, man, is an incredible representation of that. A little bit older technology, of course, but you can sporterize these things and all kinds of stuff. But I like it just how it is right here. And the SKS and 7.62, you know, AKs and stuff are fantastic. You can trust them. AKs are just bulletproof, and that is one to definitely have in your collection of guns you can trust your life to. You never know what situation you may be in, and with a gun like that that can run in mud, dirt, sand, water, whatever, that's a gun that you definitely want to have. Now, if you need to extend things out a little bit from home defense to 500 yards, some people say 600 yards, I guess, depending on the round that you're using. I'm talking about the practicality of the round. Not can you just hit a target at a said distance, but will the round still be effective at that distance? So I'd say 500 to 600 yards probably max with this if you're a good shot, perfect conditions, and 20-inch barrel. But of course, I'm talking about the AR platform. Now this one is the M&P M2.0, and man, have I put some rounds through this gun. So there is a review, I can assure you, coming soon on the M&P M2.0 finally, right? Now I've put some rounds through this thing, and I've promised y'all a review on this for quite some time, and I can assure you now that is finally coming to fruition. This rifle is great, but the AR platform in general is fantastic because you can make it exactly how you want it for the purpose that you want it for. If you want something more for home defense, as long as you have a 16-inch barrel, a lot of companies do 16.5 just to be safe, of course. So something a little bit smaller to move in and out, you know, around doorways and stuff like that, then you can do that. If you want something a little bit more for long distance, well, there you go. You can do that as well. The 5.56 is a great round, but if you want, let's say 22, 7.62 by 39, or if you want, hell, 6.5 Creedmoor, or 300 Blackout, or whatever, the AR pattern rifle is chambered in a lot. You can do a lot with them. I'm more of a minimalist, right? So I'm waiting on my mount so I can put my sling on here because I think that is a crucial component that you absolutely need. But other than that, man, I try to keep it very minimal and keep the rifle as light as possible. But the AR platform, you can do whatever you want with it, essentially make it into anything you want and almost any caliber you want. 9mm, it's insane. It is a great, great gun, and one, as long as you get a good off-the-shelf brand, Smith & Wesson, Daniel Defense, Midwest Industries, and many others, you're going to be good to go. You know, if you build your own, that's a whole different story. You can do it, obviously, super reliable, but generally speaking, these things are reliable and one you can trust your life to and do a lot with. Now, if you're not a fan of the AR platform for whatever reason, then you could go with a bullpup. This is the first rifle I ever bought, right? And y'all have seen the video review of it. And this is a fantastic gun, man, because, you know, the overall length is super short compared to the AR, but you still get the same 16-inch barrel. So you get the same velocity. Now, you're not going to get a 20-inch barrel. That would look kind of goofy in this platform, right? But the weight distribution, although they are generally a little bit heavier because you have all the components back here, but the weight distribution is fantastic in this rifle, especially when you have a... Where the heck did it go? Walla Kazam. That's right. An angled foregrip or something like that, you're going to get a very compact package where most of the weight is back here. So if you had to go one-handed with this for any reason, it's going to be easier to actually maneuver with this inside of a home. Again, one-handed because I got most of my weight back here. I can then use this hand, or if this hand's down for whatever reason, you know, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to this particular type of gun and the bullpup design. Of course, the AUG is a really iconic bullpup. The Hellion from Springfield Armory is another cool option. I'm not going to say that one's as reliable as the X95 because I haven't run it as much as I have this gun specifically. But as long as you can get used to the battery of arms. And what I like about this one specifically, if you're used to running ARs, because a lot of people don't like to change up the system that they're running because they're used to it and whatever else, which I definitely get that. There's only two things you really have to learn on this gun specifically: charging handle, magazine location. But because the magazine release is where a traditional AR would be, and so is the selector lever, well, you know, it doesn't make it as bad. It's not as different as like the Hellion, where pretty much everything is different on that gun. So the X95 is one of those ones, if you need something for home defense, but you also want to stretch things out a little bit, you're not going to get sub MOA accuracy out of this gun. We're talking about a defensive gun. If you want something like that, you can trust your life to the X95. And the last gun we're going to talk about that you can trust your life to is a good semi-auto pistol. This one is the M&P Metal, recently reviewed. Check it out. I talk about everything there. And this is something that is so versatile And if you get the right gun, specifically M&P, Glock, Springfield Armory, Sig Sauer, Ruger, Canic, Walther, CZ, but either way, a good semi-auto is a must-have. Personal protection, home protection, something you can keep in your vehicle, something you can conceal carry. The list goes on and on and on. This is one you need. This is one you can definitely trust your life to, and you may, most certainly, if you have to trust your life to any of them, it's going to be this one. Make sure it's a good one. The brands I just mentioned, I've done reviews on all of them. Check out all of the channels. Just type in, Smith & Wesson Headshot, or type in Walther Headshot, Glock Headshot, Canic Headshot, whatever, and you'll see a review. Okay, so just make sure you get a good semi-auto. It doesn't have to be striker fired. That's normally what I prefer, like the FNX 45 I showed, the CZ Shadow 2 that I recently reviewed, the SIG 229 Legion that I've done. There's been quite a few. Those are a good option as well. But again, remember, this will probably be the one. If you ever have to protect your life against anybody trying to harm you, this one needs to be a good one. And you need to be your best shot with this one right here. So there you go, man. 7 guns that you can trust your life to. I hope this list helped you out in some way or another. If you like what I do and you want to support what I do, becoming a subscriber here, joining the channel, or becoming a Patreon member. Much appreciated. Links down below to Patreon. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. And as always, hold 'em down.